When I was a wing commander at Kunsan, Korea, I was at a 4th of July picnic, and my chief master sergeant and I were standing there. We look up the sidewalk, and there's a guy walking toward us, and he's got black combat boots, black knee socks, cut-off jean shorts, no shirt. He's got nipple rings. He's got a chain between them, and the chain's connected to a black leather dog collar with big silver spikes on it, which matched the one on his wrist. He had the Hitler kind of haircut, goth black. So the chief and I went over and talked to him and gave him some fashion advice, which I'm sure he appreciated. Turns out he was an F-16 crew chief, young staff sergeant, great guy, fantastic crew chief, I came to find out. I flew his airplane a lot. Every night, probably a couple of nights a week, I'd drive through the flight line and visit the guys out there. He was on the swing shift, which is the afternoon evening shift, so I got to see him a bunch. I got to know him pretty well. We talked 2 or 3 times a week. Maybe 6, 7 months into my tour there, I get a knock on my door on Friday night, late. I'm in the office doing paperwork. I look up, and here's this young staff sergeant. And with him is his tech sergeant supervisor, brand new to the wing, been there about 4 days. And he and the squadron commander, first sergeant chief, are all behind him, looking not happy to be there. And this tech sergeant drug him in my office, and he said, "Boss, you got to fix this." And I'm thinking, God, he took his shirt off on the flight line. He had those nipple rings in. This is horrible. And then that young tech sergeant explained to me that wasn't the problem. This was the problem. His daughter, Lori, who was 4 years old. The guy had left Hill Air Force Base in Utah to come to Korea. He'd gotten divorced right before he left because his wife was on drugs and he couldn't get her to stop using them. And after exhausting every other possibility, he divorced her. They had a custody battle for Lori. He didn't want his wife to get in trouble with the law, so he didn't mention the drugs. And she got custody of their daughter. Well, since then, she'd been arrested, charged, convicted of felony drug sales, and she was going to prison. Her only surviving relative and his only surviving relative was her mother, who had just gotten out of prison for drug sales. The judge had said, whoever gets custody is going to be close enough that I can see this little girl every 6 to 8 weeks because I'm worried about her. So he can't compete because his follow-on assignment is to Spangdahlem, Germany. So for the last 6 months, he'd been trying to work the Air Force assignment system on his own as a staff sergeant from Kunsan to get his assignment changed. You can imagine the kind of luck he was having. He's a very proud guy. He didn't want to ask for help. Well, after hearing the story, we kind of confirmed some facts. I called up the judge, talked to him. He agreed that at the final custody hearing, which was Monday, this is Friday night in Korea, he could compete if he was living closer. So I called a guy named Jimmy Green who ran the assignment system, good friend of Mike Gould's. Said, "Jimmy, I need some help." I told him the story. Jimmy said, "What do you want?" I said, "I want him to be assigned to Luke Air Force Base, and I want him to be there Sunday." He said, "Okay, put him on an airplane, the orders will meet him." So we did, after we gave him a little advice about what you wear to a custody hearing in front of a judge, and how to get a haircut between now and then. Anyway, I didn't hear anything else about this for a couple months, and one Friday evening, again, I'm in the office, it's dark outside. I open up an envelope I don't recognize the writing on, and this picture falls out, along with a note that just says, "Thank you. This is Lori at her 5th birthday party at an animal park up near Flagstaff, Arizona. I have full custody of her now." Pretty cool story, isn't it? Let me ask you a really important question. Why didn't I know about Lori? Saw the guy all the time. Talked to him a couple times a week. Why didn't I know he had a daughter? Any guesses? It's not complicated. I never asked him. I never asked him. I almost cost him his daughter. I almost cost her a family. By the way, so did his squadron commander, group commander, chiefs, first sergeants. None of us asked him. That young tech sergeant was leading this kid. 4 days on the job, and he knew all about Lori. Folks, every airman has a story. Everybody in this room has a story. If you don't know the story, you can't lead the airmen. It's that simple. please learn the story.